Jan, what's popping?
Hey, Roland. Well, first of all, it's so great to see you.
Indeed,
I mean, it's been
indeed.
like what? Oh
It's
my
been
God. Over 2 years,
last
right?
time it was at Congressional Black Caucus, and I think you had been under the weather, and I had to send I sent a video to Kathy Hughes? It was something like that. We were at CBCF, and then I shot a video. And then I think I sent to Kathy Hughes, and so you wanted me to a message to send to her.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Celebrating her. She's been doing
That's
some
been a long
amazing
time.
things too. It's been too long, but you know what? I'm happy to be here now, and just seeing you here at Hope Global Forum. That means so much.
Indeed.
We're getting to do what we love and see each other.
Yes,
doing it.
yes. How have you had to navigate this whole crazy last 18 months? That not just personally, but also with your business and folks not going to work, folks not. I mean, it's been crazy. I don't know of anybody who has not been crazy affected, but certainly in the personnel space, yes.
I tell my team, look, if you go into that operating theater, that surgeon cannot make you the one mistake of a 20-year career. So
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Here's the thing that is real interesting when we're doing stuff, and it's just a pure business thing. What I say to folk is, when you're in that moment and you're dealing with customers, they ain't trying to hear nothing. They ain't trying to hear. They don't care how your day went.
And everybody in your life is a customer.
Yeah.
Whether it's your spouse, your boo, your child, everybody is a customer. Every day you are selling something.
But the thing that for me, I get this all the time, when we talk about standards, we talk about, and then when I was at TV One, I had some staffers who said, well, we're a black company. I said, whoa. Anybody, I said, say that, y'all gonna get fired. Because that turns into this, we don't really have to do it this way because we're a black company. I said, no, that's not gonna work.
Or we know each other, so we cool like that. No, we ain't cool.
I mean, you're right. Like you like we may know each other, but if I hire your ass to cook some food, it better taste good.
I love it. Rolling over 2 years, and we jump right back in.
Look, but see, that's how all of our conversations go. There's no plan, there's no, I talked to Michael Eagley. Michael said, we talking about I don't know. I said, wherever conversation go, that's where the conversation goes.
Yeah, but you're very interested in how it's been over these last 2 years, especially with me being in employment, right?
Well, because that is a part of this crazy world we're in, and then also folk who just quitting their jobs, just walking away. I mean, COVID is, I just can't say this, COVID has exposed a whole lot, but it's also made people really assess a lot of stuff in their life.
It really has, and I have to tell you, that's occurring, Roland, regardless of where you are in the work chain, okay? You can be that receptionist who used to sit and greet people before COVID, or you can be that C-suite executive who used to want to be able to garden. I'm seeing it all, and I've seen so many facets of how people are thinking this out and how they're working it out for themselves. I got to say one thing, though, because I know where your heart is around people of color, and particularly black people. And I got to speak up, because this issue of broadband and the internet redlining that occurs for our communities has really been made better obvious over COVID.
Oh, yeah.
We've had people who were phenomenal at their jobs pre-COVID, who have the talent, the skill, and the desire to work from home and no broadband. So when we talk about people quitting their jobs or people not showing up right, a lot of times in these instances of people who can work remotely and not having broadband, it became very painful for families, you know, and not just the parents who are working, but the students who can't access classroom activities. So yeah, it's had a lot of impact. And I have to tell you, when we think of ourselves as a first world nation, if we're speaking specifically of the U.S., you know, I do business in over 30 countries, but if we're speaking specifically of the U.S., we think of ourselves as being a nation that is positioned and poised for all types of change. Our infrastructure has been exposed over COVID. All of these pieces that ravel about ourselves, think about it. First time in the known history of the world where the whole globe is focused on solving for the same solution at the same time. And we're watching each other do it. You know, we've had the health pandemic, okay? We've also had the issue of social justice, which I really pray we stop detaching from economic justice. I do believe they are so connected and
actually,
interdependent.
economic is really first because that actually drives social.
Right. And then we look at on the larger scale how our infrastructure supports us, and all of that falls, as you point out, underneath the economic justice, because those communities hurt most were hit first and hardest. I think, now I grew up from people who are kind of Bible-based, right? You know, there are no mistakes in God.
Kind of Bible-based?
Kind of Bible-based, okay? No mistakes in God. I think this, and you know, I get accused of being Pollyanna a lot of times. Trust me, I cry rust tears, okay? But I do think that this is giving us an opportunity to not just re-examine where we are and where we need to be, but redefine how we get there and the value of those who can help us get there.
Well, see, I'm
optimistic right now, Roland.
That's why I think it is, first of all, we talk about what is exposed. Exposed, obviously, health disparities. You talked about the broadband piece. But I think what has also happened is a lot of people, they didn't realize how much stuff they were giving up for work. The number of people who were like, wait a minute, I was driving 3 hours a day, round trip. How much time, because you mentioned that C-suite executive who didn't have time for gardening, then all of a sudden at home. I think that's also what it did. It caused, look, there were people who, I know some people who got married, who hooked up with people because they realized
and some who split up
and
too.
a whole number, because but it was just amazing to watch people go, wait a minute, you throw in the mortality piece, they were like, hold up, I've been waiting to do stuff, ain't no day promised. And so it's just been interesting to me watching that process, which I think has played a role in why people say, you know what, I'm leaving this job. And others go, I can't believe you're leaving. They're like, no, what I thought was important a year ago, really not, so I'm out.
One of the biggest things I've seen, and whether I've seen this through people communicating their fears and their thoughts through how we work, or whether on the social scale, you know, my own community of friends and personal network, one of the things that's really been interesting to me, and I'll be curious if you've seen this, people got scared, got bold, and then got scared again. You know, COVID, they got scared. We don't know where this is going, what is happening, we don't know what it is. They got bold. Okay, I'm going to make a decision and stand in it. Whether that decision was to follow protocols and later, as available, get vaccinated, or to not follow protocols and later say, I'm going to stand my ground. People got bold in where they were. I'm not talking politically either. I'm just saying, although there are political elements that we'd be fools not to be aware of. And then people started to get scared again. You know, was the position I took the right one? Okay, Jimmy Joe got sick and died and his wife is on, you know, on life support. Or, hey, I know 20 people who didn't take the vaccination and they seem to be doing. People started to get scared again about not just the decisions they made, but more importantly, leaning back to what you were talking about, they started to get afraid of, and still are, of how do I decision for the rest of my life?
Right.
If COVID can happen, what else can happen? How do I decision for the rest of my life?
I think the people who have done that, I think part of the problem is if they really analyze their lives were actually governed by the decision of others. So they never operated in what I call this free spirit state of mind, where, well, what do they think? What do they like? That's the conversation that we had with people about the vaccine, and I'm going, you're listening to people who are TikTok, YouTube doctors. Folk, you wouldn't listen to them about a restaurant recommendation, but all of a sudden now you're listening to them like they're somehow some kind of medical expert. And I've seen that. I've seen people do that, and because it's been funny because people have been asking me, oh man, have you been? Has it been bad for you? I'm like, no. I said it's been great, and they were like, how? I said, I traveled extensively for 16 straight years. I said, so this was the first time I had unpacked suitcases, and then I said, 2, I'm comfortable being by myself. Meaning, even though wife was at home, 2 nieces were at home, they were going stir crazy in terms of I was fine. I mean, I literally was, and they didn't understand that. Like, yeah, but we normally see you here and here and here, and you're going here. I said no, because I said I also am fine sitting still. I barely even play golf. I'm talking about
a lot of
when I say barely. Now you know I'm a golf fanatic.
Yeah,
I think I only played
you and my brother
4 times the whole year. Like I wouldn't even go. I was like, nah, I'm gonna stay here. I ain't touching a golf cart, nothing. But I was perfectly fine, and it freed my mind even more in terms of what I was doing from a business perspective, and so it put me in a position to where I saw the field even clearer. But I think the people who that fear comes in because they're so used to someone saying, this is where you go, be here, go here, do this, that they actually were scared because they never had free time to think.
And they are cautious from cautious to bone scared of owning the responsibility of looking at yourself.
Yes.
When you are in that grind, you can throw a lot off on circumstance, environment.
Well, that's why folks have been
doing it.
That's why they've been getting divorced, because they're kind of like, damn, I gotta spend now all 24 hours with you. I mean, I know some.
Or rethinking what they're giving the teacher for Christmas.
And everything. I mean,
because those kids, they gotta have them at home.
But the people who were like, damn, now I gotta deal with this kid all day because.
And her daddy.
Right. You went here 8 hours, you went after school, whatever. That's what I'm saying. It forced so many people to have to sit the hell down and deal with themselves. And I know some friends, folks who in Hollywood, other places, who went through depression, who went through all kind of stuff, because they realized they were never comfortable with actually who they were.
I think the Biden administration is announcing this morning further movement, and they brought in Simone Biles to work with them on mental wellness and how they're going to treat that. Now, I don't know how they will evolve their program for that or their federal attention to that, but you speak really on point, Roland. A lot of people are opening up thought around how they feel, how they think about things in a different way.
President Biden has delivered for Black America. More funding for Black entrepreneurs. Millions of new good-paying jobs. He's lowering the cost of medications and the cost of living. Joe Biden is delivering for us, and that's the facts.
I'm Faraji Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture, weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
On his first day in office, with the country in crisis, President Biden got to work for us. Cutting Black child poverty in half, more money for Black entrepreneurs, millions of new, good-paying jobs. He's lowered the cost of living and prescription drugs. But there's more to do. He gets it because we all deserve dignity, safety, respect, and a chance to do more than just get by, but to get ahead.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
If you look at it from a work standpoint, it caused people to say, okay, I'm doing this job and I'm making this. Do I really want to be doing this? I think they cost benefit analysis. Folks start going, hold up, how much time am I putting into this whole deal? I'm investing into this whole deal, but I'm not enjoying life. Then it forced people to realize they were doing some jobs they really didn't want to do.
A lot of people invest the larger part of their life working to pay for the things they want to do.
Right.
Instead of doing what they want to do and getting paid for it. And regardless of what skill you bring to the marketplace, there are ways to kind of shift that.
Yeah.
That
circumstance. And COVID shifted it. I mean, what it did, it hit and you didn't see it coming, and then March hit, April, May, and then people like, oh, everything's gonna come back together.
I kept
saying, no, it's not. Meaning the average person didn't.
No, but I wanna kind of play with that for a moment, because you and I, when were we in China at the same time?
Urban League, that was 2005.
And I think we saw, was that around a bird flu or something? Because I think we saw people wearing masks but we weren't.
But remember, anybody who traveled internationally, everybody else has seen it, saw things coming. Americans, we so delusional. We so isolated. First of all, folks who are Asian been flying with masks for years. For 15 years. I mean, that's just I can't tell how many times I've been flying. It was kind of like, man, they walking through the airport with masks on. Well, are they sick or something? And nearly in every case, it was one who was Asian, because they've been dealing with this stuff.
But you and I talked about it. We saw people. I think we were standing beside a bus about to go to something, and we were.
But that's normal for them.
Yeah.
The problem for us is this is where we so damn free. Like, we just act like none of this stuff is ever gonna happen, and then when it hit, that's why all these Americans lost their damn mind. Well, I know the rest of the world kind of like, y'all really tripping about some masks? Really? We've been wearing masks for last 15, 20 years. But when it hit, everything, it wasn't like we just gradual, we sort of got to it. It was like, I remember being at NBA All-Star game. That was the last public event. And I may have gone to South Carolina to cover the primary there. That was the last trip that I took. And that sucker, when that thing hit, everything just ceased.
It's kind of like, where were you when Kennedy was shot, right?
Yeah, and everybody was it just hit. And I'm telling you, it was interesting talking to people and watching people, because people are like, we could be back in the fall. And I was like, no, we're not. I kept telling everybody, y'all, I said, we ain't getting back to what you want to call I said, first of all, normal ain't coming back. I said, we won't get back to what you thought it was. I said, to 2022. I kept
embrace new normal.
I told folks 2022. They were like, it's 2020. I said, I'm trying to tell y'all. I said, you're going to need a vaccine. You're going to get these fools to take a vaccine. It's going to be a whole bunch of drama. I said, I'm telling y'all. And I kept putting these black experts on. In fact, there was a brother who was from your alma mater.
North Carolina A&T State University.
I had him on. And he was saying in May, he kept saying, if you don't get the vaccine and you don't take it, it's going to create the variants. It's going to cause an even bigger problem. It's going to be even more deadly. And folk weren't listening. And people kept going, man, I'm not believing. I was sitting there going, okay, y'all can sit and act like things. I said, but I'm telling y'all, speeches got canceled, everything. But the crazy thing is, people thought, they were like, you got to be going crazy because you're always on the go. I was like, no, actually, I'm not. It it gave me the opportunity to think about my business and what we're doing. It actually accelerated what we are doing because I had even more time to just think, plan, execute.
And be so on point. Be so on point. You talk about where we were, and I made the point of, for a while we would say, can you remember what you were doing when Kennedy was shot? When we got the alert that LA was going to go on lockdown, I was actually right here in Atlanta as we're sitting now. And I was at Delta. Delta is a really valued client of ours. And we were in a team meeting, and I got a text. I serve on the mayor's committee, and I got a text, we're going to go on lockdown. And I thought, I'm in Atlanta.
I better get the hell out of this meeting.
No, I didn't. You know what I thought? My exec aide, Christy, texted her, LA's going on lockdown. She regrouped. We planned a flight to, I think the closest we got was we flew into New York and drove to our meeting with Merck. Then she got me on another flight to San Francisco. Because see, Roland, I was like you. 3 weeks out of the month, I was on the road, right? Then we flew to San Francisco. Then we got to LA because we thought we gotta get these 3 clients covered because we don't know when we're gonna get back. But here's the wonderful thing. My mind was figuring, how do I get this stuff done the way I've always done it, which was a flight, in-person meetings, and there's value to proximity, right? Once we landed in LA, and I was not on another flight for over, a year and a half, 2 years, we rethought how we worked. And clients started to enjoy it more. I've seen client bedrooms over COVID. Meeting with folks and their children running through.
That's what my point. How we did business, it forced people, we had no choice. Because see, before, you said it, most people, look how many companies had massive travel budgets. It was like, no, we have to go to these places. People went, hold up, why am I spending this much time on the road? Why are we sitting
in my case, why am I investing this much money for a flight that I learned about a week ago, which had I known a month ago would have been cheaper. So all of that.
Right. But what I'm saying is there were people who realized how much time and money they were investing being on the road when they realized we could actually do this stuff where we are. And I think then what it did is the shift hit everybody. Churches. There were many churches, especially black churches. They didn't want to hear nothing about no online services. It was absolutely not. They had no choice.
Some of them, because now I was able to attend T.D. Jake's Potter's House.
No, but he been way ahead of the game.
Yeah,
what I'm saying is, but all those years,
he drives an 18-wheeler.
Right, but all those years when he was talking about when he was doing TV and doing online, other cats worked. What I'm saying is, and look, mega churches only comprise 4% of all churches. But what I'm saying, what it did was, it forced all of these other folks who were saying no, they had no choice. HBCUs, everybody had to upgrade their online stuff because it completely shifted.
And students were teaching their professors how to use the technology.
So everything shifted, and I think what it did was it forced everybody to recalibrate their whole view of this is how we thought it was supposed to go. No, now we got to shift. And I kept saying, I said, y'all, it's a whole bunch of office space that's going to be available. After, I said, in the next 2 years, I said, you're going to have a lot of people who are not interested in coming back into the office. And we're seeing that.
The impact of real estate. Have you seen how the cost of housing and homes have gone up? I mean, in my neighborhood, I see houses that, pre-COVID were at one place and now they're more than double. I'm not exaggerating.
Yes.
People love the peninsula. I happen to live out on a peninsula. It's a horse community. It was very not known, and now, and I hate it because, Hollywood's trying to come there. I don't want that. I really love the fact that I can walk through a trail. Okay,
but what it did was everything that our lives evolved around the office and work. And now all of a sudden,
You remember the
It's
term
sh-
office wife, office husband.
All that.
More time with the person you work with
water
than the person
cooler
you
talk,
live
all
with.
of that. So how have you had to deal with your clients, and especially some who have been resisting this, and how it's changed the workforce and how they have to now operate?
It's every part of the diaspora of work. We visited, and we visited full on over COVID. We've got clients who were very interested in how they can do it different, were very listening to us, some for the first time, in how they could populate and how they could plan for work. We've got other clients who really want to hold on to how they used to do it, and why can't you do that for me? And our clients aren't just those companies who make the decisions about how work is going to occur. Our client, and in our company, I think you kind of know that about us, the candidate has always been the center of the universe. So back when people took the jelly beans to the clients, we were giving the little books, on how to purpose your life to the applicant. They've been the core, and they've been best guiding. They've been able to help us to understand how, when one candidate in one region or one office is performing work for a client in one way, they're sharing that with us, then we're able to take that and we're able to teach that to other clients on how they can work. So it's been an amazing period for me. You talked about your business growing, the elevation of how we work, the understanding of how to discipline for that and how to offer that as a service to clients has just been invaluable to us. And we've actually grown through COVID as well.
And see, that's the piece right there that's been shocking to a lot of people, those that have grown. And folks are like, okay, how in the world did that happen? And
But growth had to engage thoughtful change. All change
Right.
is not growth.
Right.
But thoughtful change is real good fertilizer. And that's what has been so beneficial to us.
But you also were not afraid of the pivot. And I think there are a lot of people.
Roland, I'm a black woman in business. Come on, I don't care how I dress up. I don't care who I'm speaking with. I don't care what part of the world I am in. I still am a black woman in business. Being afraid of the pivot, being fearful of change is not what got me here. Respectful of change, respectful of pivot. Yeah, fearful? No, no.
But there are people who don't get that because you open when you talked about people who will fear bold than fear.
Yes.
Because I think there are those who are paralyzed by, if I pivot, I don't know what it's going to look like, as opposed to you have to trust that if you make the pivot.
Now, fear can be an innocent emotion. Attitude is a choice. So we're talking about two things here. At minimum, we're talking about fear as a sincere emotion, and that fear can be around different things. Sometimes fear can actually breed innovation, okay? But attitude, when we were growing up, Daddy used to tell all of us, I've said this before, I think we've talked about this. Daddy used to tell us, if you go to bed angry, it's your attitude, not your aptitude. Your mama ain't birthed no ignorant children, And that has occasioned for me so often in the growth of my career and in my relationships in my adult life, where attitude is the thing that will encourage the change, or it will cause you to hold back and resent or repute the change. And as I've looked at my own organization, where we've had any rub in our growth, it's not been about the talent of the people, it's been about the attitude, often brought on by lack of good communication. People rolled in during those fear moments and they were afraid to talk about what they were feeling. Then all of a sudden you got fed up with people talking about how they felt. And now people are pulling back in. Well, maybe we're coming out of this. Have I said too much? Have I shared too much? Did I make the right change? Did I not change quick enough? So that's the sponge of how people are living right now. But I want to be very clear that attitude is a big part
Oh yeah.
of how we come out of this and how people individually will succeed for themselves in life.
On his first day in office, with the country in crisis, President Biden got to work for us. Cutting Black child poverty in half, more money for Black entrepreneurs, millions of new, good-paying jobs. He's lowered the cost of living and prescription drugs. But there's more to do. He gets it because we all deserve dignity, safety, respect, and a chance to do more than just get by, but to get ahead.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us.
We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us.
Invest in Black-owned media.
Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks.
We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible.
Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
I've said this to people when folks ask me, you know, when TV One ended my show, they were like, I mean, you started this. I mean, oh my God, did you freak out? I was like, no. I mean, literally, I am sitting in Alfred Liggins' office. Mm-hmm. And I had gotten the heads up that they were going to take the show from a daily to a weekly. Mm-hmm. That was going to be the idea. Mm-hmm. We go into the office, and we're supposed to be discussing that, and I had given them the idea, again, as I figured out, because we couldn't do the show digital because of the cable contracts. I proposed, I take over ownership of the show, I license it back to you. As a license program, we are able to stream the program. So I was like, it's the workaround to that. So we walk in, and the conversation, again, it's either that or go from daily to a weekly, and it goes to, no, we're completely ending the show. And I've said this numerous times, people didn't flinch. I'm talking about like literally wasn't like it was punch in the gut, didn't flinch. It wasn't like you felt, oh my God. As he is talking, I'm literally planning. So others, and I'm talking, and so when the meeting was over, we go downstairs. Daniela Proctor and I went to high school. She was EVP, and she was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe this." And
has she heard it, or did
and
you
we were
tell her?
No. She was sitting next to me.
Oh, okay.
She was sitting next to me in the meeting.
Okay.
So we go to her office, and she's like, "Oh my God," and she goes, "Are you shocked?" And I literally said, so she's sitting at her desk, and I'm looking ahead, and I'm thinking, and she goes, she says, "Are you shocked and stunned?" And I said, I didn't look at her. I said, "No, I'm planning." Even when we told the staff, they were wondering. They were trying to figure out why I wasn't angry, why I wasn't pissed, and I couldn't in that moment, because these are people who were losing their jobs, and obviously I still had 8 months left on the contract. They had to pay it, but I was already here because I'd already put some pieces in place. And that's where I think when you talk about fear, how a sudden shift, depending upon your attitude,
Right.
can cause you to operate in a much different way. I could have sat there, oh my God, what the hell? Show's over. I got this contract. Oh, it's only 8 months left. Okay, so what am I gonna do? It was complete calmness and was focused. And I'm talking about he's sitting where you are and he's talking. And I'm sitting going, and I am planning, what I'm doing right now, I am planning the entire
Yeah, once
time.
you know where he is,
I was like, okay, so when I walk out of this meeting, I'm going to call this person, I'm going to call this person, we're going to do this here, we're going to celebrate this here. That was what was happening. And to this day, not one day, I can't believe they ended the show. No, it was complete focus. And people were like, okay, but I just can't believe you were there. I said, guys, he ended the show. It was his network. I said, so I could sit here and be pissed off, mad, yell, scream, holler, or whatever. I said, or I can go completely focused.
Understanding your purpose, who you are, and what you want to do. That's not just fluff talk. That's not just talk show talk. That's real life. And I'll tell you something. There's a man named J.L. Armstrong. You may have met him over the course of your career. And for years, he worked at Toyota, and he was part of their supplier diversity team. And he, in my personal life, was a spiritual advisor to me. He was a minister at Fame, First AME, LA, right? Under Pastor Cecil Murray. I bought a building and was so excited about it. Roland, this building appears from the air and the freeway to be a part of what was then the Toyota campus, Toyota Corporate North America. JL worked there. So I asked him, would he come over and bless the building for me? I thought we were going to go inside and we were going to pray. That was me being silly because you know Reverend J.L. Armstrong. You know where he is in his pastorship. He came over, he had his kente cloth garb, he had his water, and he started sprinkling the building. And I was like, Reverend J, wait, what if somebody sees you? What if you're, and he set me straight. He said, look, I work at Toyota, I work for the Lord. Do not get confused about how you employ. You know, he said, God will send you many places. And in this instance, God has sent me to Toyota, but I'm here on God's work. When I can't do God's work through how I work at Toyota, I don't need to be here. You are so, and I don't hear you talk about it a lot, and maybe that's just evidence of how strong and how natural it is for you. You are so foundationally based on principles of good. And you've heard me say before, good is the root word for God. Roland, you are going to continue to flourish. You are going to continue to guide us and bring us joy and allow us to laugh as we learn, which is one of the greatest gifts I think you have. Any media outlet that is not excited about your work is blinded. Because, and you must read how we respond to you on socials. I mean, where and how often can you find someone who can continue to teach and bring joy and laughter along with it? And especially over this period of COVID we've been through.
But that's where purpose comes in. And I think a lot of people, because I'll tell you, so that was December when he told us. So we go to March, we have a meeting.
And bless him for his decision. No ill, I've not heard you have one negative thing to say.
My deal is,
bless him for his decision.
Ain't no problem.
What did you say? That's his network.
That's your right. That's no problem. He was interesting. So when we, and again, it all ties into these decisions that we make when we talk about where we were. Now, mind you, this is 2018. COVID hits 2020, and they offered me a new contract, and I was like, I'm not taking this contract. My agent was like, bro, he said, that's an easy $330,000. I said, no, it's not. I said, sure, I can do it. I said, but here's what's gonna happen. I said, there's an election in 2020. Take this 3-year contract. I said, I can't do anything that specifically targets African Americans unless it's with them. So I knew the parameters of the contract. I said, Tom Joyner retires at the end of 2019. I said, there has to be a voice that is speaking to our issues. I said, if I take this contract and they say, all right, we got you on the contract, we're just gonna pay you. It's actually cheaper to pay me than to produce a show. I said, I can't take the contract. Then I said to Mark, it was Mark Watts, I said, Mark, I said, I'm 49. The vision that I have, if I do not do this now, I never will be able to do it.
Let me ask you a question. What is the thing you most want to do on planet Earth?
When you talk about understanding purpose and gifting.
Yes.
I've been doing media since I was 14. It's never changed. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. People come to me to do everything else, open other businesses, run for office, and I'm like, no.
What is the effect you want to make on Earth?
And that's the piece, and that is being able to use the power of media to reach, teach, and educate. And that's the purpose. Now, what is interesting for a lot of people are like, but I wish you had a show on CNN and MSNBC. And I would tell them, but I have a show that I own, that I control. I said, see, they're like, yeah, but it needs to be on a larger platform. I said, but do you understand? I said, they own the show. They control the show.
Okay, Prince.
Prince. They dictate the show. But again, though, that's understanding that I'm not validated because it's CNN. I'm validated by the audience and what they receive from it. And I think that is...
You're speaking the same as Prince did when he decided
absolutely.
To pull his name back.
Yeah. Because but see, that's where I think what has happened is in this where we are right now. I think it is COVID forced. See, remember, this was 2018, so I was already there. I think what COVID did, it has forced people to have that hardcore conversation of who am I, why am I doing this, what's my purpose, what's my gratification, and what do I want to achieve. For you, has this moment has it crystallized for you something that you wanted to do, or has it caused you also say that we're going to be even more driven for what we're trying to accomplish and what we're trying to position and how we're trying to help people and help them with their careers and build them? Has it done that?
Not either or, both. Sit back, listen. When we went into COVID, I shared with you that I added 2 additional flights before going back to LA, where my husband was. A man who I loved and enjoyed over 40 years on this earth with. I can honestly say I found my Prince Charming. My husband had Alzheimer's, and I invested the first couple of weeks of being quarantined, Roland just fussing about having to cancel other trips that were planned and how were things going to go. And while I was fussing, mentally, I was in the room with him. God gave me 2 years with my husband, 1.5 years with my husband, to be with him every day that I otherwise would not have had. And I heard that with Alzheimer's, oftentimes people become opposite of who they are. Before Alzheimer's, Bernie was a very outgoing, loving, incredible man. I'm not speaking of him in a glorified way that he really wasn't all of that in life. He was all of that in life. He's still present with me. And we were lucky because he just became a happy 3-year-old mentally. We made the decision as a family, our 2 children and me, that we would not hide that Bernie had Alzheimer's nor the experience he had with it. We felt that dignity suggested it was right to share that. He was a very loved and respected man in life, and we just felt that Alzheimer's was a part of how that went. But I got to have time with him that I would not have had. And our 2 children, adult children, very successful on their own, decided to come and be with us to escort Bernie when we realized, at some point this is, going to be a different thing. And, well, I'm sorry.
So good.
Just so much good happened in the family. Sunday dinners where I used to have like the 18 to 22 people at my dinner table, got a big dinner table, they became Zoom dinners and everybody lying about how good their food was and, and messing up recipes, trying new stuff over COVID, trying to steer away from how we've always done it. So in terms of how I have to say the family, we've never been so close,
right,
as in this distance of COVID. I mean, we set up the family Zoom and we have our meetings by Zoom as a family. We were able to bring mom in on that, and it's just shown us, and you use the word crystallize. It crystallized for us those things we truly value and how they sustain and enable us to grow.
And it took you back to upbringing. It took you back to before you had the house on the peninsula.
Yeah.
Before you had the $1 billion company. Before you meet all these
$3
clients.
$3 billion company, but who's counting?
$3 billion company. But it took,
the data matters. The data matters.
It does. But what it did was, it said all this other stuff that happens, what truly matters that brings us joy. I say same thing. I hit my family. We lost 2 of my mother's sisters, a cousin, and we were on the family chat, and I said, why are we not getting together like we used to? Because my grandmother and my grandfather had 8 children. We lived 8 blocks away. The church, the Catholic church I was raised in, was founded in their living room. So every Sunday, it was 50 to 60 people, because they had 8 kids. Those 8 had 42 kids.
Right.
Those 42 kids had, I think, 80 plus children, and those 80 plus have had, I think, about 150.
Let the church say amen.
We got, Catholic folk believed in children.
Right. My son's about to marry a Catholic.
But the thing is, it was like I never stayed the night at a non-family member's house growing up. I really didn't have friends growing up because I had too many. I didn't have room for friends.
Roland, I tell my mama, thank you for giving birth to my best friends.
I had 37 cousins. Like, wasn't no room. But the thing, and so they said, we had this family gathering. They said we meet annually at the church where they have a yearly deal to celebrate the founders. I said, well, why? I said, why in the hell are we waiting for that event in March? I said, I don't understand that. And I said, y'all, how we grew up, I said, was sustained by family. And folks were like, dang, you're right. I said, we should not have, our gatherings should not only be at funerals. And that's why what I think what has happened is people have now realized why they passed on getting together. Man, let's get together for dinner, for drinks. Oh, I'm so busy. Coming out, I'm guaranteed, what I've already seen, coming through it, out of this COVID deal, folks have said, I'm not gonna say no to those get-togethers, to together drinks, because they realize that stuff mattered.
But think also mattered. Of the you're in the media business, so you're in the business of maintaining information, gathering information, archiving information. Think about all the memory books that are now created digitally for our families as we continue along. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, and part of that conversation was, we didn't tell our kids all those slave stories, because I had people in my family who could remember people who had been slaves. And, I'm cute, but I'm old. And so, anyway, and so we were, and I was sharing some of the stories that we called her cousin Dora, but she was an older lady, and she had family members who'd been slaves, and she shared with us. And how traditionally we have oral history, but then we have a gap in that. And, whether it was because we were so happy and so to be out of slavery and so bruised by the experience or whatever, we stopped sharing the stories orally. And we were talking about, wow, but now, since we've been through COVID, because it started by what are our grandkids going to think about COVID
Right,
when they
there
hear
you go,
about it.
there you go.
What an opportunity we have to share our stories. I think in my family alone, there are still 8 siblings alive who, and we call ourselves the Crazy 8s, and we get together, as I said, so often, so regularly and spontaneously, digitally. We're keeping so much of what's happened now. We've made a decision. We're going to continue.
Right.
Even after COVID.
Right.
Because
Because
it is a history of a family
and
that
it's
can
connection.
be shared forward.
And it's connection. It is.
My brother out with his wife showing us how he's painting this or fixing this, or another brother who can actually cook showing us how to get it right, because he's telling my brother, you bought that chicken and threw it up there. You know, you didn't cook it. Those kinds of things. So, yeah.
Which are the memories, because you talked about it, you said the 1.5 years, 2 years with your husband. Again.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. But that is, look, my aunt Lurdy, my aunt Betty passed. She was 81. Her sister, the second oldest, my mom's sister, was 80. Okay. And it is those moments. And what I say to people all the time, I said, when you get sick, when you go through something, I said, let's just be honest. You're not thinking about the job and the money. You're thinking about the loved ones who you grew up with. And I think that is ultimately the greatest lesson. Where we are right now, people are now forced to look at, what are my true priorities? Not saying, look, I work like crazy, but I also understand that working is one thing, but the relationship and the time with friends and family also sustains us and undergirds us even more so.
And that's one of the beautiful things about what you're doing, Roland. I mean, I feel kind of like your mama here, but listen, journalism has a responsibility to bring news. When we journal best, we're bringing life, we're bringing stories. And so I do think that you elevate the craft. I think that you bring so much meaning into our lives, because you're not just bringing us news, you're honestly bringing us life. I appreciate you for that.
I appreciate it.
President Biden has delivered for Black America. More funding for Black entrepreneurs. Millions of new good-paying jobs. He's lowering the cost of medications and the cost of living. Joe Biden is delivering for us, and that's the facts.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
What's the one thing that you really have wanted to do that you have not done? You've done a whole lot of stuff, been a lot of places, but there's got to be something that I really, really wanted to do, and you have not, whether it was time, whether it was whatever.
Okay, I'll give you the small thing now. I'll give you the big thing when we go off camera, okay? But I'll give you the small thing now because it's come up so often for us. Roland, I have not learned to swim, and every home I own has a swimming pool.
Let's see, okay. I can swim a little bit, and it's very interesting because I didn't want to learn how to swim. I couldn't stand, scared the whole water deal. My brother did. I'm not diving off no damn diving board. I'm like, look, I'm a chill in the pool. I'm a wade. I'm gonna relax. I ain't trying to see. I'm a land-based brother.
Oh, no, Roland.
But I do the same thing.
Listen, boo. I am not afraid of the water, but think about it.
I like the water.
I told you.
But I ain't trying to swim.
I told you. I got a few years on me, right? I'm a pre-civil rights kid. I integrated out of high school. Here's the thing. Back when everybody was learning to swim in my family, there were 6 girls. 5 sisters all had what we used to call good hair. And they could go swimming, shower, brush it out, and let it blow dry on the way home.
And no problem.
And I couldn't.
Oh, you like, I ain't messing my hair.
I couldn't. Oh my
So you
God.
like, I ain't messing my
I
hair.
can buy whatever I want now. But back then, Roland, I would like go shook, and I didn't want to look like that on that long walk home. And so I didn't learn to swim because I didn't want to not be cute. You know, I mean, James Brown hadn't yet said, "Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud." and Roland, afros weren't the thing. We didn't have afro sheen. Yeah, so I just didn't learn to swim. And then life got busy. And I continued my education and career in a way that, and you know, most black folks didn't have a swimming pool. We had a public swimming pool.
Right.
I got to set the record straight.
Right.
We were talking about taking about a 20-minute walk to get to the public swimming pool.
But that was since then. You've had pools.
I remember when the pool came to town, because before that, the white folks had a pool, and we couldn't go across Panola Street and go to their pool. And so I didn't learn to swim. And I was standing outside doing a video for a client, and they made a comment about, you must be enjoying that pool in California. And this was, you know, cold time for them being back east. And I thought to myself, I'm not enjoying this pool in California, but I should be. And so I made a commitment to myself to learn to swim before I come out of COVID. And my son actually said he'll help me with that.
See, I've enjoyed my pools, but I can chill in it with my nieces and the family, everybody in the pool. I can sit by, so I still enjoy it. But I'm with you. I don't actually swim, but I just chill in it.
Yeah, well,
I put the trunks on and we'll just be chilling. I have some lemonade, music playing. So I'm enjoy the pool.
Think about all the cruises we've taken in our lives.
I ain't getting damn that. First of all, I'm already bothered with the cruises because I like to play golf when I go on vacation. So I ain't trying to be on that damn water that long. Look, I went to Hawaii for 10. I went for Hawaii for 10 days.
Roland, I love a cruise.
Played 16 rounds.
I love a cruise.
You call Jackie, because she love cruises. I can't stand cruises. I can't stand cruises. I'm trying to play every day.
I ain't studying you with your golf. My husband, go on and hit that little ball. Find joy. But
playing 2 out of 7 days. I can't do that.
My husband and I had some of our most wonderful experiences.
You can call Jackie.
Cruising.
Jackie will be happy. She is a cruise person. She's going on cruises with my mama and daddy, and I wasn't there. I was like, look, y'all
I do those exotic world cruises.
I don't care. If I can't play golf every day, you talking about joy? I ain't happy.
Enjoy yourself, okay, boo?
No.
What
you
they used to say, Roland, you do you, do you, boo?
This how we operate. You on vacation, I'm on vacation. You do stuff you like, I do stuff I like, everybody happy.
I love it.
And we gonna do some stuff together, but I ain't trying to sit here and be with you 18 hours and doing some stuff I don't like. I ain't trying to go hiking. So she gone.
I do like hiking.
Here's my
Jackie and I might have two things in common.
Ro gonna be on the golf course. Okay, we got sand on the golf course. We got water on the golf course.
Jackie and I got 3 things in common. We like cruising, we like hiking, and we like you.
Right, and y'all can enjoy that together. Y'all can talk about me while I'm playing golf.
We ain't gonna be talking about you while we cruising.
Y'all can do whatever. Y'all can talk about.
We might talk about you while we hiking.
I don't care. Y'all talk about whatever y'all want to do. But I ain't. I have paid for her and my mom and dad to go. I'm like, yeah, y'all enjoy. Y'all send me the pictures. I'm gonna be playing golf. So that's how. But everybody happy.
All that said and done, are you gonna learn to swim?
No, because I ain't got. Here's. I'm gonna get it real quick. Here's the one thing that I always wanted to do that. Didn't.
You already swimming. You swimming with
No,
the
I don't.
sharks. You swimming with the sharks.
Oh, I might be swimming with the sharks, but we ain't getting in that damn water. Which is why I don't procrastinate today. I procrastinated in 6th grade. I played cornet in elementary school, and I waited to go to the band office to check out a saxophone. I messed around, waited. By the time I went, they were all taken. The band director said, well, look, I need a bass, baritone, horns. I was like, man, what the hell? I learned that. So I went from beginner's band to advanced band in the same year. I was the first student in my junior high to do it. I remember walking in the advanced band. My brother's like, you in the wrong class. I said, no, I'll play it. It didn't change. He's like, I was like, yeah, I went from beginners to advanced the same year.
Yeah.
But it was the one instrument I've always wanted to play because the sax that's on B.B. King's song, Take It Home. My dad played the song all the time. That's the one thing. Now, two of my closest folks, Gerald Albright, my frat brother, Kirk Whalum, both saxophonists.
Oh, Kirk Whalum.
Mike Phillips, saxophonist.
Kirk Whalum.
So
I
that's
can tell you talking about COVID.
Oh, no, Kirk is my
Did Kirk help you through COVID playing some of that old stuff?
No, Kirk is my, like I buy Kirk's before, doesn't matter, I even hear it. Kirk is my man. But that's the one thing, and I've been saying I need to take the time to learn to play the saxophone.
For my husband.
Oh, I got all Kirk stuff. All Kirk stuff. But that's the one thing that I have to do, learn how to play sax. And to have, again, these great saxophonists as friends of mine, that's the one thing I got to do.
And I'm going to learn to make your Texas spaghetti.
So here's what we'll do. I'll learn how to play a saxophone, you learn how to swim, and then I'll play the saxophone while you swimming.
And we'll throw a party for everybody.
Yeah, there you go.
Once everybody can come.
That's how we'll do it.
Is it a deal?
It's a deal.
Okay.
Good to see you.
Love you, Roland.
Love you, darling.